Morning folks, how's everybody today? I'm fantastic, thanks for asking. That's my wee voice in my head says, how are you? Anyway, yesterday I spoke about expanding your comfort zone and what that actually means. It requires a bit of pushing to expand your comfort zone. But once you get bigger and bigger and bigger and learn how to do it, it will set you free ultimately in terms of what you're doing from day to day. So as you begin to monitor your vocabulary, morning Louise, morning Joanna, you can also bring more power into your life by expanding your comfort zone. So what does that actually mean that you're going to be doing? Most of us operate within a zone that feels right outside of what we are uncomfortable with. For example, we might spend £75 on a pair of shoes. You're not getting me to spend £75 on a pair of shoes. I'm tight. Morning David, morning Janet. But £100 would make us nervous. But you get the idea. We might be willing to initiate friendships with people in our office who are at our level, but might actually feel quite intimidated and uncomfortable by anybody that's higher up than us. Morning Sarah. We might go to the local deli when we're eating alone, but would feel really uncomfortable when eating in a luxurious restaurant all by ourselves. We might ask for a £5,000 pay rise. Really? But £7,000 might make us cringe. We might charge £30 an hour for our services, but we don't feel we're worth £35 an hour, and so on and so forth. I mean, you get it. It's that expanding level of uncomfortableness and getting into that comfort zone and getting used to it. So this is what this is all about. So for each one of us, the comfort zone is actually different in its real terms. But whether we are aware of it or not, all of us, rich or poor, high or low, on the totem pole, male or female, make decisions based on the confines of our comfortable space. We're in our comfort zone. I suggest that each day you do something that widens the space for you. Call someone you're really intimidated by. Buy a pair of shoes that cost a wee bit more than you would otherwise have paid in the past. Ask for something that you want that you've been too frightened to ask for before. Take a risk. Now, I'm not talking about big risks, remember. I'll explain later on. One day, one small or bold stroke will make you feel great once you've done it. So take a risk one day. Even if it doesn't work out the way you wanted it to, at least you've actually tried to do it. And I'll tell you what, you didn't sit back powerless then, and you'll watch what happens when you expand your comfort zone and begin to be aware of how you feel as a result of doing that. And that's what expanding your comfort zone is all about. So each risk you take, each time you move out of that comfort zone, makes you feel comfortable overall again. This is like the thing about running into water and running back out. Well, just dive in and start swimming, and you become used to it and comfortable. You may become more powerful as well, and the whole life expands to take in more of what there is in the normal world. As your power builds, so does your confidence, and so that stretching your comfort zone becomes easier and easier. Despite that fear you may be experiencing, the magnitude of the risks you take also expands. In the beginning, you may sign up for one evening course or evening class after being out of school for 15 years. I talked about it the other day. You know, when I first went back to college after all these years, I was terrified, but I had to do it. The compelling why was far greater than the fear I had. And it was the nearly man all over again. Nearly could have done this, nearly could have done that. Ultimately, you may enroll to get your graduate degree. You'll be expanding, opening up, becoming bigger, but all at your own pace when you think about it. Morning Andrea, morning Anne-Marie. As long as you're taking those risks, no matter how small, you're moving yourself in the right direction from the pain to power chart. It's just these small baby steps every single day will make that fundamental difference in your life overall and compound over all the years and all the days and all the weeks and all the hours. So if you just do a wee bit extra every single day over a year, that's 365 times extra. Where could you be at the end of this year, at the end of the next year, the year after, in 5 years? That frightens some people when I say 5 years, doesn't it? It did me. Comfort zone. That's what it is. Each night before you go to bed, plan the risk you're going to take the following day. Don't beat yourself up about doing this religiously. Close your eyes and in your mind's eye, practice doing it. This is the classic example about practicing everything and seeing it happen before it happens. When a golfer goes out onto the golf course, a professional golfer, he usually plays it all in his mind, in his game, before he actually gets the game finished. And he knows the result before it's going to happen. I do that often before I start a journey. I plan out the whole process, so I know what the answer is I want, and then I work out in between what I need to do to get there. I'm quite risk adverse. I make sure I've got the answer before I start the journey. So I'm more or less guaranteed the result. So close your eyes and in the mind's eye, practice doing it. Make your visualizations as clearly as possible as you can. Also, as you go through the day, be aware of what you can find yourself hesitating at and start planning your future risks based on these observations. If you can push through that hesitation for the moment you recognise it, that's fantastic. Remember that the more power you expand your comfort, the more that you expand your comfort zone, the more powerful you become. The more you expand your comfort zone, the more powerful you become. Try it. It's brilliant. Now, please note, the risks I'm talking about do not include physical dangerous acts. We're no climbing Everest here, such as speeding in a car or taking drugs, nor does it include risks that infringe the rights of other people, such as making a pass at someone else's partner, robbing a bank. No. Not only could you end up unpopular, dead or in prison, but you can also be moving yourself onto the side of the pain chart rather than the power. These kinds of acts are not empowering, remember, because they don't have the integrity or the love for the self or others behind them. Without these ingredients, it's impossible to build your sense of self-worth, hence your ability to handle fear will be greatly diminished. So take only these risks each day to build your sense of self-worth. And that's key. Do something that builds your sense of self-worth. These risks that enhance your ability to deal with your fears. So expand and expand and expand. So whether it feels like it or not, you already have more power than you could ever have imagined. We all have, really. When I speak of going from the pain to power, I'm not talking about pulling the power in from your outside source. Inside of you, just waiting to emerge, is an incredible source of energy when you think about it, which is more than sufficient to create a joyful and energetic life. Whether you do this or not, really, is not a good clue as to whether you're willing to the time to accept them as within you itself. If you're not, don't berate yourself if you don't do this. Just make a commitment to work towards it. One day to do this. So just take one day to do this, and one day and a bit at a time. It's baby steps all the way through. Most of us are filled with the old conditioning, remember, that keeps us weak at the core. Remember all these things you were told when you were younger. What makes you think you're so special? Well, you are. You just don't realise it yet. It takes constant repetition and the newer and healthier patterns to take hold. This is a 28-day thing. Remember, if you do something consistently for 28 days, we talked about a millionaire mindset. If you do something consistently every single day for 28 days and do not waver on it, it will become a pattern in your brain, hardwired, a neural pathway, and the old one will break down as a result of it. You're innately designed to use your personal power. And when you don't, you experience helplessness, paralysis, and depression, which is the clue that something is not working as it could. You, like all of us, deserve everything that is wonderful and exciting in life, remember. And those feelings emerge only when you get in touch with your powerful self, and that's the key. So tomorrow, we're going to talk about whether you want it or not. It is actually yours, and you just have to go out and get it. And I'll see you tomorrow at 7:30.